Awesome. So let's get started, guys. I did send across the SOP document for installation of Python, the Anaconda version of the flavor of the Python. Okay, so let me send it across one more time to everyone. So please download that file. Okay, just the only small request. Please do not type anything in the chat window, because the moment I upload something onto the file, it will get lost for all the students. Okay, so just give me a few minutes. Don't type anything on the chat window. I'll be uploading a file. Please download the file. Okay, so that everyone will be able to download that file, and then after 5 minutes you can update update your questions or anything that you have in the chat window. Okay, thank you, guys. So this is the file that I tried to send it to you. Okay, so what I want you to do is click on this link and go ahead and go to the link. Okay, so all that you want to do is you need to download this Anaconda individual edition. Okay, so go ahead and click on download, or if you want to check the system type, if you are on 64-bit or 32-bit, I know that my system is on 64-bit, but if you want to check it in your end, go to your control panel. So go here in your system and type in control panel, click on control panel, system and security. Okay, so and then into system. Okay, so click on system and you will get what is the system properties of your system. Okay, so I have an i3 core, it's fine, it doesn't matter which one you have, at least minimum of 4 GB is required. Okay, so this is my home computer, so it has 4 GB. So you need to at least at least have at least 1 to 1.5 GB usable RAM memory. Okay, so only then your Python programs will work. Okay, so I have enough memory for me to use it, so I'm good. Okay, so system type is the most important thing. Check if it is a 64-bit operating system. Okay, if yours is a 64-bit operating system, and then go to the Anaconda page and see if it matches with the 64-bit installer. Okay, so you should download the one which is matching with your operating system type. Okay, I think you're good. Probably you need to increase your volume at your end. Okay, so any other questions that we hear? Okay, MacBook Pro, you can use it. You can use virtual machines to use the Windows side of it, but I'm not going to do any troubleshooting when you run it onto it, any issue. Okay, you don't need a strong internet while working with Anaconda, okay, in Jupyter Notebook, but you need internet for downloading the file. Okay, so when you go to this particular page and click on download, you will get an exe file downloaded. Okay, so this will be around close to 500 MB. So if you have good internet connection, then it will take at least a couple of minutes for you to download the file. So you can see that it has taken a minute or two for me to download. Depending upon the internet connection that you have, it's going to take that time. Okay, yeah, so if you are comfortable using PyCharm, you can use PyCharm. I don't have a problem. Okay, so Vikash, apologies, I'm not so good in Hindi. Okay, so I'll try to do the language which I'm comfortable with. Okay, so Rishabh, wait, I'll get to the installing stage. Okay, yeah, VS Studio for Python is also fine. This Anaconda that's the best part of it, right? So I'll tell you what happens. The moment you have the Anaconda IDE install, you will have all the environments. You can select Spider, PyCharm, Jupyter, any of the IDEs that you want, right? So you can pick any one of them. Okay. Yeah, so Preeti, go ahead and download it. It might probably take 2-3 more minutes extra for you to get it downloaded, but it is fine. You should be able to finish off the downloading as we speak, as I try to answer the queries. Okay, so go ahead and kickstart it. Okay, you don't have to wait for the file. All that I want you to do is go to this link. I'll put it back again. Okay, so once you downloaded the file, you'll have an exe file. Don't get don't kickstart the installation. Okay, get the file downloaded, get the exe file downloaded at your end. Okay, fine. So all I want you to do is go to the individual edition of Anaconda and download it. That's all. Okay, your system will automatically get recognized and it will give you the 64-bit installer if you have the 64-bit system. If you want to manually verify it, go to control panel. I'm giving you the link as well. And system. Okay, so go ahead and check it over there. The moment you click on control panel, systems and security and system, you will know what system type you are having. Okay, so if you're having a 32-bit, then you cannot download this. You will have a different 32-bit installer that will be available at your end. So download that. If you are having a 64-bit system, you can go ahead and download the 64-bit installer. So 3.8 is the Python, 3.8 is the latest. So that is available for you. I think I already installed it. I think I did sometime in January, February in this new system. So I have probably Python 3.7, I guess, at that point of time. Okay, so you can download the latest version that you have. Okay, so once you do it, if people who are having MacBook, please, and Linux systems, you need to select other options that you have here and download that respective ones. Okay, fine. Awesome. So let's move on to the next one. The moment you download that file, the file will get downloaded. Okay, so let me go ahead to the file. So you will have a file which is downloaded. Double click on that file. Okay, you will get a setup wizard like this. Okay, this will guide you in setting up the Anaconda. So typically what happens is that you install Python separately and then an IDE separately and then link up both IDE and the Python. Okay, so IDE is nothing but the development environment where you code. Okay, so in Anaconda, you don't have to worry about it. This is the easiest way of installing Python in your system. Okay, so all that you have to do is few clicks of Anaconda install and automatically the Python setup will be done for you on the background. Okay, so it's telling you that this is going to be a setup for Anaconda and 64-bit. So if you're having any other applications which are going to be interfering it, please close them and start it. So click on next. It will give you a license agreement. Go ahead and click on agree. This one is, it's going to tell you if there are multiple users in your system. Like say, for example, if you're sharing your system with your father or brother, and if you want the other user to also see this installation, then put it as all users. If you need to set it up like that, then you need to have admin privileges on your laptop. Okay. Otherwise, if you're going to set it only for yourself, then your user privileges is good enough. Okay. So you can go ahead and do it only for yourself. Okay. So click on next. Then it will ask you a pop-up telling that, can I go ahead and run this particular installer in your device? Go ahead and click on yes. I'm not doing yes because it will start installing it from scratch again for me. Okay, it's already done for me. Okay, so I want to quit it out. Okay, so it's the same thing that I've captured in the PDF file. Also, you'll get the first screenshot. Okay, so you will get the first screenshot. Click on next. Then you'll get a license agreement. Click on I agree. Then you can select just me or all users depending upon what privileges that you have in your system, and then wait here. Okay, PDF file, I sent it to you, all of you again. I'll try to send it one more time. Please download that file. Okay, so I'll repeat it for benefit of others as well. Okay, sounds good. I think I see that a lot of people have already been able to install, but let me try to walk you through it one more time. All that I want you to do is go to this link first. Okay, open this link and check what is the system type here. Okay, is it automatically recognizing it as 64-bit? Check it. Okay, and go to the control panel, system securities and systems. Okay, once you go there, check if your system is a 64-bit operating system. Okay, if this is matching with the installer here, go ahead and click on download. The moment you click on download, you will have a file which will get downloaded here. So once you get it here, double click on that file and you will get a pop-up like this. Okay, you'll get a pop-up like this. Okay, so what you need to do is click on next, license agreement, I agree. If you want to install it only for your user, click on just me, or if you want to install it for all the people who are using the laptop, click on for all the users. Okay, so once you're done that, click on next and you should be able to get this page. Okay, fine. If it's a 32-bit system, it's still fine. All that you have to do is when you download this file, just check if it is a 32-bit graphical installer. Mine is a 64-bit one, so it automatically picks it up. But if you're using a 32-bit one, yours will automatically be picked up as a 32-bit installer. So if it's 32-bit installer, go ahead and download that. Okay. Okay. Or if you're not automatically pick it up, then scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. You will find a 32-bit graphical installer over here. Okay. So you can download that file. Okay. I'm stopping this because I don't want the 32-bit installer in missing. Okay. So in the same page, what I gave you, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and you'll find a 32-bit installer for a person who's using 32-bit system. So go to control panel, check what is your system type, and download the installer which is corresponding to yours. Mine is 64-bit, so it's auto recognizing it and giving me the 64-bit. For you, if you're using 32-bit, check if it is giving you 32-bit. If it's not giving, scroll down to the end of the screen and download the 32-bit installer. Okay. For MacBook, you can still use the Anaconda version. All that you have to do is change it to here and do it. Okay, but I'm not going to troubleshoot that. Okay, so Android is a bit more complicated. Okay, so I'll probably send across the steps to do that. Okay, so I think there is a PyDroid 3, okay, notebook. So you can use that for your Android. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so people let it have it downloaded. I'll walk you through the next steps. Okay, so I think most of the majority of the people are there in the next step now. Okay, so on the interest of time. So once you have it here, you can select the folder where you want to install the system. Okay, so it will show you how much of space do you have. Okay, and what is the space required. So you need around close to 3 GB in your laptop. Okay, for you to have not the RAM but your disk space. Okay, so it's going to consume around close to 3 GB of your disk space. Okay, so store it wherever you want, preferably in C drive, so that all the files can be located from there and you don't have any problems referencing the Python path. Okay, but you can go ahead and leave it as it is. Okay, I've put it in my C drive. Okay, so or if you want to change where you want to put it in a different folder, you can go ahead and change it wherever you want. Okay, so once you've done this, click on next, and then it will ask you these two. Okay, ensure that you uncheck the first one and check the second one. Register Anaconda as my default Python. Okay, for you it will be 3.8. Okay, so click on the second part which says register it for the default one. So this will take care of setting up your Python path. Okay, so don't miss the step. If you're missing the step, then you need to do all the stuff manually. Okay, so when you go to the next step, ensure that you uncheck the first one and check the second one. Okay, so and another for people who are already using PyCharm or Visual Studio PyCharm and anything else, this will automatically pick the path from here as well. So ensure that you do this and then click on install. Your installation will run. Okay, this will run for 2 to 3 minutes depending upon the network speed and your laptop speed. Okay, I don't think so network speed is required, only your laptop speed. Okay, so it will run to completion. It will say completed, and you will get this page. Okay. Okay, so if you want to download PyCharm, it will ask you to download PyCharm. You skip this, click on next, and it will ask you if you need any tutorial or something for you to do it. Just ignore it and click on finish. Okay, I'll repeat it. Set the path, leave the default path as it is, and then ensure you uncheck the first one and check the second one to register Anaconda as your default Python. Click on install. Installation will run to complete. After that, you're just going to click next, and finish it. Okay. Awesome. Don't worry, people who are still downloading the source file, don't worry at all. All that you want to do is pay attention to the steps that you need to perform after the file is downloaded and you need to run the exe file. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So I can see that most of you guys are able to download it. Don't worry about the PDF file. It is the one that I have created. Trust me, and then download the file. Okay. I'll give you guys few more minutes for you to finish off the installation. Okay. For people who are stuck in the first step, I'm going to go back and walk you through. What I want you to do is go to the link Anaconda Products Individual, download the installer, which is matching your system type. So how do you know your system type? Go to control panel, system and security and systems, and check what is the system type that you have. Is it a 64-bit processor or is it a 32-bit system? So depending on what you have, download that corresponding 64-bit or 32-bit. And once you're downloaded that, you'll get an exe file. Run the exe file, click on next, click on license agreement, select which user you want it to be installed for all the users of your laptop or it only for you. And then ensure that you have adequate space in your system. Leave it on the default path if you want to, or if you want to change it to some other path, change the path. Click on next. In this page, uncheck the first one and check the second one. And installation will start. Click on next, and finish it. Okay. I sent the PDF file multiple times, guys. I'm sending it one more time. I've sent it one more time to you guys. Okay. Yeah, it depends on your internet speed. It will take time for you to download. Okay. You need good internet speed only for your download of your exe file. After that, it should be fine. It all depends on your laptop speed after that. So 4 GB RAM should be good enough for you to work on normal Python programs. Okay. So if you're running any image classifications or something like that, then it probably will hang a bit, but for normal ones, it should be fine. Okay. Okay, just can you show me a show of hands for people who have completed the installation after this step? So finish off this finish. And once you're done it, go to the search window and type in Anaconda, and you should be able to see an Anaconda Navigator here, this green one. Okay. So how many of you guys are able to do that? Can you just show me a show of hands? Just raise your hands. I don't know. I think there was something yesterday, right? Just raise your hands. You can click on more and raise your hands here. Yeah. How's this session going to be useful for people who are not going to have a PC? Okay. For sure, you'll be able to follow it when I try to take the sessions. But only thing is that you cannot do hands-on. So if you're not going to do hands-on on the exercise, then how are you going to practice Python, right? So you can understand the concepts. You'll be able to have a good overview of what Python is and learn the Python, but you should be able to practice it on your own. Okay, so on that aspect, I think you need to have some system for you to practice Python. Okay. Yeah, there is few questions. Let me try to take few questions over here. Is Python on a Linux terminal sufficient? Yeah, it is sufficient, but the commands and the syntax is slightly different in Linux environment than in the Windows environment. So you need to be wary of it. Okay, so if you already have a PyCharm, feel free to use PyCharm. Okay, so what is the difference between this PyCharm and Jupyter, right? Okay, so a lot of people have been introduced to PyCharm also, right? So see, as I told you, right? So Python is used for multiple reasons. One is for web development, creation of applications, data analysis, data analytics, creation of machine learning models, and then implementing prediction models and all the stuff, recommendation algorithms and so on and so forth, right? So uh, PyCharm is a good application development or a web application development IDE. Okay, so similar to what you have in as an Eclipse in Java, right? So that is how PyCharm is. Okay, so but the drawback of PyCharm is that it is not having great graphical abilities and data analysis capabilities when you try to do it as in Jupyter. So what is the biggest advantage of Jupyter? It is an interactive way of writing an IDE, right? So the moment you write something, if you want to debug, you can do it in line itself. Okay, you do not have to run the whole code to debug it, right? So in that way, and it can be shared between different teams, and it has good connections between Tableau and packages, and so that it is makes the data analytics jobs much more easier. So that is why the Jupyter IDE is much more famous on the data analytics world, and PyCharm is famous on the web development side of it, application development side of it. Okay, no, Python and PyCharm are two different ones. So Python is like the language, and like I'll tell you for example. Okay, so okay, I think still people are doing their installation, so let me try to take some questions on this. Okay, one at a time, guys. So if you have a question, just lower your hands. All of you lower your hands, and please raise your hands if you have a question. Okay, if you're gonna put all the questions over there, then I'll be able to see only the latest, and I'm gonna answer that. Okay, so sounds good. Okay. Okay, Neha, I would love to do that. What I'll do is, I think then if I do that, then most of our sessions will be lost in only in installing PyCharm and this one, VS Code. So what I'll certainly do is I'll send you articles for installing in PyCharm, so that it will be easy for you. Okay, so if you're doing it in PyCharm, you can do that. Okay. Okay, wait. I think there's, hold on. I think there's quite few questions. Okay, so first question is that why are we, okay, what is Python and what is PyCharm and what is algorithm, machine learning algorithm? Okay, so hold on. Okay, so let me try to tell you how it works in the business world. Okay, so business world will have a problem. They'll come and say that I would like to find out what is going to be the sales in my next quarter. So they'll come and ask me that, Yashin, can you find me the what is going to be the sales for the next quarter? Be like, now with this COVID and stuff, can you predict what is going to be the sales for this particular product in the next quarter, right? So now you have a problem in hand, right? So after that, you need to first understand what is the data that you need to get to better understand the problem and to find the solution, right? So you will then start collecting the data, and data is not going to be easy to get directly. You will go and talk to different departments, and they will have their data, and they will mask few data and then share it to you, right? So they will not be able to share all the data directly, right? So they'll give you a few data. So sales team will give you data, HR team will give you data, pre-sales team will give you data, uh, marketing team will give you the data, and financial teams, and all the teams, you're going to have all those data, and revenue, everyone, you'll get all the data required from all the different departments, right? So once you have all those data, some of the data might be incomplete and all the stuff, right? So then you need to clean up all the data and put it in some format which is going to be easy for you to work with, right? So then you do all those stuff. So then just imagine that whatever problem that you have, you need to employ some kind of what do you call as a structure, okay, for arriving at putting the logic of your solution, right? So this logic of this solution is called algorithm, right? So if I want you to find out the Fibonacci series of a huge number, then you go back and do some calculations on the background, right? So this logic that you do is called algorithms. It doesn't matter in which language is that particular thing done, right? So it doesn't matter if I'm going to be conversing to you in English or Hindi or Tamil or Kannada, but if the concept behind whatever I'm going to talk about is called the algorithm, right? Algorithm can be implemented in different languages. So you can implement it in Java, you can implement it in Python. So languages in software engineering is going to be primarily the way an algorithm is being implemented is called languages. Okay, so you can have you can write the same algorithm in different languages. Okay, so Python is one of the languages which is available. Why are we using Python? Is primarily because it is easier to learn, it is easier to do data analysis, it is faster, and it can be used for different reasons. So in an industry, you do not need to have different languages for different reasons, right? So you can use it for web development to application development to data analysis across the teams, from development to product support to marketing. Everyone can use the same language, so cross compatibility becomes very easy, right? So when people are talking in the same language in an organization, it is easier to understand each other, right? So if you want to take some code from the other side and then use it in your system, it's easier. You do not have to write the same code again. You can use the one that is already available, right? So is Python better than Java? That's the millennial question that we had. So for a long reason, you still find that close to 30-40% of our software companies still are built on Java. But Python certainly is better for data analysis and data analytics and for web development, right? Java has taken a backseat on the newish data analytics side of it. So it has its own deficiencies on for web development and also for data analytics. For core application development, Java is still being widely used. Okay, so Java is the go-to language for the primary application development. Okay, Python is certainly faster than C and Java. Okay, awesome. So we have done that. Okay, so we are going to be concentrating more on the data analysis part. Okay, not on the web development part. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. I think we have most of the people who have already have the installed the system. Okay, I think we should be able to get started now. Okay, so once you've done that, what you're going to do is I'm going to share my screen. No, you cannot use Notepad. Notepad is not an IDE. It is just a place where you can randomly note down your thoughts. That's all. Notepad is like your rough pad, right? So that is not an IDE. Okay. So, okay, sounds good. So now you have it. If you installed everything correctly, you need to go to this and click on Anaconda. You will get this revolving one, Anaconda Navigator, Anaconda 3. Click on that. This is going to take time when you first launch it. Don't multi-click on it. Sometimes I see a lot of people multi-click on it and your laptop just freezes. Okay, just click on it once and leave it. Okay. After a few seconds, you will find Anaconda run on your background and you'll get a green icon which will come. See, you got this. Don't multi-select it. It will crash your this one. So please, this is resource sensitive. So leave it. Okay, it's building up all the environments across all the IDEs. Okay, so you'll see this icon. Don't multi-select this Anaconda. Again, I'm telling you, click on it and wait for a few seconds. This will come up. Okay. If it's the first time that you're doing it, it will take time. Okay. So there you have this. You will have an Anaconda Navigator environment which will be created. Okay. where to click on this. Go ahead and Anaconda Navigator app. Okay, click on that only once, don't multi-click it. Okay, so once you do that, you'll get the complete IDE here. Okay, so you can see that you will have all your IDs that you require. Okay, so you have PyCharm automatically installed. You do not have to separately do that. So it will not install perfectly, but you'll have the Python already installed in your system. So you can click on install here and directly install PyCharm. Okay, so all that you have to do is that click on install and then do PyCharm for you. Okay, so you don't have to separately install PyCharm. Okay, Spider is already pre-installed with your Anaconda, so you can use Spider also if you want. R is another programming language, so R Studio is available. If you want to use R, you can click on install and you can use it as well. Okay, so the one that I will be using extensively is something called as Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so open this, click on launch. It will take few minutes, don't get worried, and I'll tell you a very easy shortcut for you guys, so don't worry. And it will open up the folder where your Python base directory was initially set when you installed. Okay, so you will get a page like this. Okay, I'll repeat it once, don't worry. So go ahead and click on Anaconda Navigator only once. It will take few minutes and launch this page. I'm closing this out. So this page will come. So once this comes, click on Jupyter launch, and this will open up this page in your browser. You can see that localhost 8888/3 will be there as default for everyone. Awesome. So some people might find it cumbersome to launch Anaconda every single time and then launch Jupyter, right? I opened this particular page to show you that you have all the IDs available here. Okay, IDs are nothing but development environments, right? So development environment is nothing but a space where you're going to write your code, save your code, and run your code, debug your code and stuff. Okay, so you can use any of those platforms to do it, right? For writing code. So now you do not have to launch Anaconda Navigator every single time. Okay, so I'll close this out. So for people for whom it is not working, don't worry. I'm closing this one out also. Okay. What I want you to do is go here and click on Jupyter. You will find something called Jupyter Notebook. Okay. Click on that and you'll find that this loads it much faster and you will directly get the Jupyter launched. Same thing, you don't have to go through the Anaconda. You can launch Jupyter directly. Are you able to do this? I'll repeat it. So go to this, click on Jupyter and click on Jupyter Notebook, and you will get the same localhost 888 and /3. And 8888 was already been worked. That port was already open there. So I did a hard closure. So it's opening up in the next port. Okay. So that's all. Hello World is going to be a first project. I like that. So we got so used to the Hello World, right? So let's do that. I'll repeat it one more time. So go to Jupyter, click on Jupyter, click on Jupyter Notebook. It will automatically open up the browser. That's all. Okay. You do not have to open up Anaconda and then go here. Python and SQL. Okay. I'll show you the shortcut. Go here, click on Jupyter in the search window, click on Jupyter and click on this. It will automatically open it in a browser. Okay. Always go to start. You can search for Jupyter here and click on it. either ways, search for the program Jupyter or go to the search window and click on Jupyter and click on that. And this one will get started. Okay. So this is going to be a root directory where your Jupyter notebook has been going to be saved. So if you want to create a new directory, go ahead and create a directory. Okay. So how do I create it? Click on new folder. You can create a folder. Okay. So let me go to my desktop. So I have all my files over here. So I have my Python files over here, the SOP file that I sent you. So I'm going to the Python folder and I'm going to create a new file. Okay. So navigate wherever you want to, and then click on new Python, and it will open up a new tab. So your IDE is set up for running Python. Yeah, I'll show you again one more time. So I'll do it from the shortcut, and I saw your question. I think who was it? Okay. So go here, click on Jupyter, click on that. You will get this browser open. And then from the root folder, if you want to create a new folder, click on new and then folder and then give a folder name. Otherwise, I have a folder already created. So I'm going to desktop, Python, and click on new Python 3. It will create a new notebook. So it will create a notebook for me. Okay. Yes, Akshat, I know. Okay. I know it's tough, but stay on. Okay. Okay. One last time, guys. Go to the search for Jupyter and click on it. You will get this folder. And if you want to start a new notebook, click on new and click on Python. Okay. So once you've done that, you will get this page. So this is your IDE for you to work with. So let's quickly walk through what is the IDE that we have. Okay. And how are we going to use this? So if you want to write any code here, you saw this, you see this cursor here. So like say, for example, I'm going to use this as a calculator. So 9 plus 23. I'm going to run this and I'm click on run, you will get an answer. So you write any code and click on run, it will run the code. Okay. Or if you want to move this to bottom, click on this, it will go down. And if you want to move this to the top, click on this, it will move to the top. Okay. So if you want to copy this, you can copy this. And if you want to paste it, you can paste it. Okay. So very self-explanatory. And if you want to delete this cell, delete this cell. If you want to create a new cell, click plus. It will create a new cell. Okay, so you can play around with this. Run is to run the code. Moving this is going to move the one bottom or move it top. Copy, paste, deleting a cell and adding a new cell. Okay. Self-explanatory. Okay, now I'm going to clean up this. I'm going to delete all the cells. Okay, so someone wanted to do a hello world, right? So print, and within this print, I'm going to give Python. Here we come. Okay, and run it, and it's going to print your first line of code. I'll send it to everyone, to all panelists. Okay, so at the end of each class, what I'll be doing is that I will be saving the file that we do, and I'll send it across the file as well. Okay, so that you can have a copy of it at your end and you can download it. Okay, sounds good. So now let's do one thing. Now, if you want to stop some, like say, for example, I've written a big code here, and if I want to stop it in the middle of the running of the code, if I clicked on run and it is running for 2-3 minutes, and if I have to stop that functioning, you click on this. Okay, and this is going to be just refreshing the kernel. So if you want to refresh the whole kernel, it will do it. And always remember, though Jupyter Notebook and Python will allow you to do multi-threading, okay, multi-processing is not allowed in this Jupyter. So you'll always have, if you have open one book, you will have only one kernel assigned to you. Okay, so you have to start and stop your kernel before you start another kernel. Okay, so if I've written some 10-15 lines of code, and if I want to run everything from top to bottom, so you can select this. So it will restart the whole kernel and run all the code which is there in your notebook. Okay, so those are all small shortcuts that you have already here. Okay, well, there are quite a few Q&As. I'll take it later. Let's go to the chat again. Okay, hold on. Should we type Python for every function that we do? No, you don't have to. Okay, if you have problem creating a folder, then that means that you do not have permissions over that. Okay, so try if you are able to create a simple page on that. Okay. Oh, what is kernel? Kernel is nothing but a server which has been allocated on the background for the Python to run. Okay, so basically it's what I would say is an memory space coupled with resources which are being allocated. Okay, so I need to allocate some memory space or a server which is has to be allocated for the Python code to run. Okay, so that is the whole thing about kernel. Okay, sounds good. It's not idle, it is IDE. IDE is nothing but your development environment. So like say, for example, you speak in English, okay? But it matters what communication tools that you use for speaking, right? So like we use online medium for speaking, right? So IDE is nothing but the environment that you have on which you speak, okay? So like that, you write Python code in an environment that is specific for it, okay? I will certainly jump onto practicals, guys. So be on with me, okay? Okay, let's jump to the next question. I need more information on that, Rohan. Okay, so if you are running into an issue, let me give you a link. Okay, so most likely it's a permission issue. Okay, so if you're not able to create it, just navigate internal to one of the folders which has already been created and then do it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, sounds good. So now we have the IDE which is already created. So what can you do here? So let me try to show you. Click on cells. Okay, so run a cell. There's a shortcut called Control Enter. Instead of doing this, I typically what I do is I run this and then I press Control Enter. Okay, for running it. Okay, so and now if I have to toggle to a header, I toggle it to a header, and then if I have to toggle header back, you'll get it. So it will hide it and then show it back. Okay, so edit will allow you to do all those functions about merging a cell, deleting a cell, replacing a cell. I typically use it for searching for a particular code that I have written somewhere. Okay. Okay. So now how do I save this file? Okay. So click on save. It will get automatically saved as a title called Untitled. Okay. So, but if you want to change the name, click on file, rename. So this is going to be Jane Tectonic session 1. Okay, it's gonna save it. Okay, now let me see what is this file saved as. So all that I did is file rename. Okay, let me see what is the file saved as. It is saved as a file name called as IPYNB. What is it called as? Is Python notebook file. Okay, so and you can also see that this is running. Okay, which is currently being opened somewhere. Okay, so if I close this out, okay, so now if I going to refresh this page, you see that even though I have closed that file, your kernel which was open is still running. Okay, so always don't force close a file. Select this and shut it down. Okay, so it is always using your resources in your system. Okay, so always ensure that you log off from a particular screen properly. Okay, so kernel, shut down your kernel after you have finished it off. Okay, after you have worked, finish off the kernel, and then if you see, there will be no running kernel allocated. Okay, so otherwise, the moment you start running it, you'll see that it is still running. Okay, so now if I have to save this file and send it to someone, okay, you can see that it's running, but kernel is not on. So change kernel, this is Python 3. Let me stop it and then run it now. It is run. Okay, so if you're saying that the kernel is not run, click on it so that kernel is allocated and then run it. That's all. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so next, if I have to download this file and send it to someone, okay, so you can download it as different file names. Okay, HTML pages, you can put it as IPNB file, which is the normal notebook file. The other one is PDF file. You can download it as a PDF. Whatever you write over here in code can be downloaded as PDF. You can download it as .py file, which can be loaded into PyCharm. Okay, so you can download it in whatever file format that you would need to. Okay, so this is a basic overview of how to start off with your Python code. Okay, any questions, guys? Let me quickly jump on to the questions before we get started off with the Python. Python, PyCharm is already taken care of it. Jupyter or software, is PyCharm or Jupyter a software to learn Python? No, it is both are IDEs, development environments for us to work with Python. Okay. Yes, for CSE, IoT, data science, computer programming, for everything, you need to learn Python. Yeah, you can use VS Code if you're comfortable with it. So we don't have questions. No, you need to install libraries. I'll tell you. Don't worry about that. You need to import a library. You don't have to worry about it. So when you call import library, it will come. It will import your libraries. Okay. Okay, so let's get started, guys. Let's not waste more time. So we have finished off with most of the activities, and I think we have done the setup. Okay, so if anyone is running into issues, please help each other get your ID set up, because if you're not going to have your ID set up for tomorrow, for the next week, then you will be lagging behind the rest of the students. Okay, sounds good. So next one is you can write code and markdowns. Code is the default one. If you want to write markdowns, markdown is nothing but comments. So this is a comment. Okay, you can either write it like this when you're writing it as a code block, add a hash in front, it will be a comment. Okay, so comment is primarily added so that we can explain to the person who is looking into the code what a particular code is doing. Okay, or if you want to, this is a comment inside the markdown block. Okay, so change it to markdown and run it. So you can add a comment like this also. So this will be inside the code and this will be added into the notebook itself. So there are two different ways you can do that. Okay, sounds good. So let's get started. What is going to be our course plan? Okay, so let me try to do it. You will learn Python basics. Okay, so you will learn Python, and then we will try to do at least 1 to 2 sessions of advanced Python. Okay, so in machine learning. Okay, I'll probably do something on regression and classification. Okay, a quick one. Okay, for people who are interested on that, I'll do that in the fifth day. Okay, so we'll be doing a lot of language constructs. Where is it being used? Basically, programming, data cleaning up, manipulation, analysis, plotting. Okay, So we'll all be doing this. Okay. We'll be using that because we have a varying level of audience. We'll be trying to take everyone along. So we'll be covering building blocks today and also on next session. Okay. So third day, we'll be doing pandas and we'll be doing use cases. Use cases, we'll be taking a real life data and doing that. Fourth day will also be on use cases. Okay. And fifth day, which is going to be the 9th hour, and the 10th hour is going to be more on introduction to advanced Python. Okay. So will I be learning everything that is required in these 10 hours of session? No, you will not be able to learn. And there will be certainly seriously a lot of things that you will not be able to grasp up as well, right? So you need to go home and do few activities. Okay. So at the end of every session, I'll be giving you few homeworks. So you need to think about it and start doing it at your end. Okay. Only then you will be able to come back to the next week and be able to catch up with whatever you've done. So if you're not even revised whatever you've done on one particular Sunday and then come back fresh as a fiddle on the next Sunday, you would never be able to catch up. Okay. Sounds good. So that's the course plan. Kernel, I already told you, is a server which is allocated where your code runs. So what is Python? So let me do something. So what is Python? So Python is an what do you call as an high-level general purpose programming language. Okay, it was introduced way back in 1991, if I remember. Okay, so it is an interpreted language. It's a dynamic interpreted language. It is the language of choice for web programming and scripting purposes. Okay, so it's a great tool which has been used by the scientific computing community. Okay, because the scientific community has been coming up with new additional functions and algorithms. The Python is having extensive data analytic capabilities. Okay, so you have a fairly large scientific community and is used in a variety of settings such as financial research, algorithm development, derivatives pricings, financial modeling, network analysis, and obviously into machine learning as well. Okay. And one of the major advantages that you will find, or major differences that you find between C programming and something like Python, is that there is no type definitions involved. Okay, so for people who have been used to C and Java, you will find that that is going to be the first thing that you will notice. Okay, like say if I'm going to use a variable, I need to first define what is that particular variable is about. Is it an integer that I need to store inside it, or is it a string that I need to store inside it, right? So I need to specify, like in C programming, you would put like something like this, right? So in C, in the A or something like that. You do not have to do that in Python. Whatever you store inside that particular bucket, the bucket transforms the shape of that particular value. Okay, so if I'm going to put say numbers into a bucket, and then the bucket will say that I'm going to be a data type of number. But in other languages, what you need to do is you need to create a bucket which will store only numbers upfront, right? And then only you can use that particular variable. Okay, but in Python, for people where we don't know what is going to be the value that will be stored inside, you do not have to define anything. When the value is getting generated and then stored into a bucket, then bucket will automatically take its own shape, right? So there was a huge advantage of Python. Okay, so what is for people who have been using to C, you will be able to find out that this is a huge difference, okay, in the way how C programming and Java works and how Python is works. Okay, so so why Python? It is obviously simple to understand and easy to learn. It is platform independent as well. Okay, so and also takes the best of Java, like object-oriented structure. So it makes it programming very easy. So what does it mean by object-oriented is it considers each one of the elements in the code as objects. Okay, so it is easy for us to talk between different programming languages like that. Okay, there's a huge amount of 24,000 odd libraries of research which is already there. So you do not have to write your own code. You just have to write one line of code and it will directly pick up the code from the library. Okay, so there's a huge amount of important packages that are available like NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, Matplotlib, stats models, Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup is used for web scraping. For people who are used wants to know more about it, it is primarily used for taking data from web. Okay, so and scikit-learn is used for most of the machine learning models, and RPy for integrating between R and Python and all this stuff. Okay, so what is this Anaconda? Anaconda has this integrated IPython console. Okay, so it's an editor, right? And it has major component which is nothing but your IPython notebook, right? So this is, we are going to be using Jupyter as our flavored IDE. There is different ways to write Python code. Okay, so you can use it in an interactive mode or you can use it in a script mode. Okay, so some of the guys in the class were talking about PyCharm and stuff, right? So that is a way of writing it in the script mode. Okay, what do you mean by script mode? Is that you write the complete code like how you write it in Java or C, or then you can run all part of the code or some part of the code. Okay, but in interactive mode, it's a quick way of writing and testing code, right? It is interactive in nature. You just write one line, test it. And so interactive mode is recommended when you want to test some idea and you want to find out the result in a quicker way. That is the main reason why for data analysis, we use Jupyter. Okay, so scripts ends with an extension of .py, while IPython notebooks ends with the extension of .ipynb. Okay, we saw that. Okay, sounds good. Now let's go to Python notebook. Any questions? Sounds good. Perfect. So what is IPython notebook? IPython is nothing but is a software package in Python that serves as a research notebook. Okay, it's a streamless interface that you're seeing that you can write notes like comments that I showed you, and you can also use it for data analysis in the same file. So if you're doing some data analysis and if you've got some findings, you can also comment it over there. So the data analysis part allows you to write the code and run it within the notebook itself. So which is why it is super useful. Okay. And it is browser based, so it supports text, code, expression, graphs, visualization, videos, images. So if you want to embed an image or a video also, you can do that. And you can also link pages to the internet also into the same IPNB notebook. So in that way, it is super useful, right? And you can export it into different formats like what I told you. Okay. You know how to create the IPython notebook now. I showed you, right? So you go to here, click on new and open it up. So you're able to do that. Sounds good. So now let's already saw you that you calling print and you're printing up the code. And if you want to type any numbers or something like that, type any numbers. And if you want to use it as a calculator, you can do that as well. So it will do the values for you. So simple. Okay. And you'll get the output. Okay. So now you can do some what do you call as statistical functions also. Like say, for example, if I have to find an average or a median of something. Okay. So then what you need to do is that you import a package called NumPy. So you do import NumPy as NP. Okay. What is it doing is that I'm importing NumPy. And what is this as NP does is from now on, whenever I'm going to use a function which is inside this package, I don't have to write this whole line NumPy. I'll use NP dot something. Okay. So I'm lazy. So NP dot something I'm going to call instead of writing NumPy dot something. Okay. So it's just an alias. Okay. So, and at any point of time, if you want to find out what is inside this package, NumPy, like say, how do I use it? Okay, mean is a variable there, and then run this. you put a question mark at the end, it will show you what is this. So it computes the arithmetic mean and it returns the average of the array that has been passed inside. So you will know what is the input data type, output data type, everything that is there about the package. Okay, so it's a good one. I just add a question mark on the end and it will tell you what it is about. Okay, sounds good. Okay, perfect. So can someone tell me what is a variable? You would have probably seen it in C programming, Java. Your C++ knowledge is going to be of so. Why do you need a variable? I know that you guys know what is a variable, but why do you need a variable? Why can't I use a number directly? No, why should I store it somewhere? I can directly use it, right? I saw one of you answer it. Yes. So if you, very good, very good. Okay. So it is not primarily used for storing a data in a variable. Variable is nothing but a placeholder, right? So you are going to store something over here. Just imagine that there are various reasons why a variable is used. Okay, the main primary 2-3 reasons is that, like, if you want to use that particular thing again and again iteratively in different places, you can call it by the variable name instead of actually hard coding it. How is it important is, if I'm going to say, if a particular, say for example, I'm going to calculate the total salary. Okay, total salary, and salary is calculated as number of days into each day salary. Okay, like say each day allowance or something. Okay, so now number of days, say 30 into each day allowance was around $1,000. Okay, so I have done this. It's telling that it is 30,000. Okay, so next day, next month, I think my manager comes and says that, no, I think your number of days is getting calculated wrongly. You need to do it only for the number of working days that you need to do. So what you do is you change it from 30 to 22 and change it and send it. Okay, I'm just doing a simple calculation. Then next day he's telling that, no, you got an increase from 1,000, it's moved to 1,500. Okay, so move it 1,500. Okay, it's a very simple calculation that you have done here. Just imagine that this particular calculation was a humongous calculation that has to be done. And this was only a salary calculation. Just imagine that you have written some 15 to 20 lines of code and you have used this 30 and 1,000 multiple times inside your code. Okay, so every time the day is changing and every time the salary is changing, you need to do search for wherever the 30 is being referenced and wherever the 1,000 is being referenced in your code. I need to go and change all those places, isn't it? Right? What is a better way of doing it is that mention that number of days is equal to 30 and each day allowance is equal to 1,000, and then mention total underscore salary is equal to number of days into each day allowance, right? Instead of putting the number directly and multiplying it, I'm storing the number into a variable and then multiplying those two variables. So what happens is, just imagine this particular formula is going to be a big formula that I'm going to have for like calculation of home loan interest and different values and stuff like that. Okay, so you're going to calculate this and I'm going to print this total salary variable. You're getting this. So next time onwards, whenever there's going to be a change, I'm not going to rewrite this formula every single time. Formula of calculating the total salary is going to be the same. All that I'm going to do is change the value, which is going to be here, right? And then if I run this, the value will automatically get changed. So that is the main reason why we have variables, right? So it allows you to avoid hard coding data, and the interchangeability of the variables, it allows you to make your program flexible and neat and clean and faster, right? So that is the main idea. Okay, good. Now you know what is a variable. Did you see something? I've silently used two variables here, right? This was one of the variables, nothing but just imagine there's a bucket, a placeholder, and you are putting the value 20 inside that bucket. And then there's another bucket called each day allowances, and you're putting 1,000 inside that. And now you are multiplying these two buckets and you're getting total salary is another bucket. So till here, after writing this line, after the writing this line, there is no bucket called total salary till here, right? Now, when it goes to this line, when your computer goes to this line, it does this multiplication and it goes and stores into a bucket called total salary. Till this point of time, there is no bucket called total salary. So it finds this total salary, there's no bucket. So it creates a bucket and puts the multiplied value into the total salary. So this is what it is called as a dynamically interpreted language, right? So it will not create a variable upfront and keep it, right? So in your other languages, what you need to do is you need to define a variable. I need to create a bucket called number of days, which will store only integers. And there is another bucket called each day allowance, which is going to be an integer. And your empty bucket will be lying around. And then you will be storing values inside that bucket. And then you need to create another bucket called total salary, and then multiply these two buckets and then put the value inside this bucket. You do not need to do all that, whatever in Python. Okay. Python makes it very easy, just like how you do it in normal Max, English. So you have a variable called 20. This is just like how you do Max, right? So you have a variable like this, write the formula, and this formula will automatically store the value here, and you can print it out here. Simple. Any questions, guys, so far? Yes, we could write the whole code in one cell itself. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Now, let's say, for example, I have a variable called I is equal to 5 and A is equal to 4, and I have I is equal to some value here. Okay. Now, what is the value which is stored inside the bucket, interchangeably the variable I? What is the some value, right? So always remember that it will take the latest and it will store the value over there, right? So now if I have to print, like say value of I is, if I give it in single quotes inside print, it's going to print whatever I type it here, isn't it? So you saw this, right? Yeah. So then comma, and if I have to print the variable, I'll just put the variable here. Okay. So what it does is it will print value of I is, let me say the colon also, it will print this and then it print the value of the I. So my output will be value of I is some value. Okay. Got it? So that's how you can use your print statement. Okay. Sounds good. So now I'm going to introduce you to another important concept called indentation. Okay. Sounds good. Indentation is very crucial in Python. Okay. So let's say, for example, I have a value called X, which is going to be 1,000. Okay. And you would have probably noticed that I'm not using any semicolons at the end of the each line, like C, right? So you do not need to have any end of line character. Okay. Sounds good. So now X is going to be 1,000. I'm just going to write a simple program using a if condition. All that you have to do is that if this X is going to be greater than 100, then like say for example, if this is the person's salary, okay, so this is the person's salary. Like say I'm going to put salary is equal to 1000. Okay, if the salary is more than say 1500, then he's going to get 100 rupees extra as monthly salary. So you're gonna, if he's going to be 1500, more than 1500, he's going to get whatever amount that salary is plus 100 rupees for that month. If it's going to be lesser than 1500, then he's going to have the 20 rupees as extra. Okay, sounds good. Let's try to do this. Okay, so the business consider question is this simple. If the salary is more than 1500, then you're going to print 1500 plus 10 rupees. If lesser than 1500, then print 1500 plus 200 rupees, 100 rupees and 200 rupees. Okay, so this is the logic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first thing is very simple. If salary is less than 1500, or rather more than 500, right? Okay, so if salary is more than 1500, now watch it carefully. Unlike in C programming, we're going to have something called as colon here. Okay, now if you click on enter, you will see that it will automatically tab from the front and it will start from here. This is called indentation in your Python. What is this indentation is, if this condition is true, then run this part of the code. Okay, that's what the indentation is saying. Okay, so this will not run mandatorily. It will run only if this particular thing is true. Okay, so if salary is going to be greater than this one, I'm going to be printing what? Your salary plus 100. Other way. Okay, so now if I press enter, it will come to the same line. Do I have to do anything more here? No, right? I need to write the other function, which is called as else, right? Again, colon. So what I'm trying to say is, if the salary is more than 1500, print the salary as salary plus 100. Okay. So if the salary is lesser than 1500, it will automatically, else will take care of the other part, right? Then if I press enter, print salary plus 200. You do not have to worry about any of the parentheses, loops, and any of those stuff. So the indentation is actually a replacement for the looping end of line characters and the parentheses in Python. Okay, so if I run this, you'll see that because the salary was 1000, if 1000 was greater than 1500, no, so it is failed here. So this will not get action. It will go directly to the else loop. It will print this, so it will print 1000 plus 200, 1200. Any questions, guys? So what is indentation and how is it different from your C programming or Java programming? So indentation is actually replacing your what you call as parentheses and everything. So what typically does in Java they do is, or C programming or C++ they do is, if it meets a condition, then they'll put it within the bracket saying that do this. Then if it does this condition, then within the parentheses they'll put it like do this, right? That is called looping, right? This is basically looping, but without the parentheses here. So in Python, you do not have to worry so much about your structure of your package. Okay, so you do not have to put in any kind of parenthesis like this. Okay, so These loops are not required at all. These closed ones are not required at all. So all that you have to take care is, if you want something to be run, only if this after this condition is true, okay, then give an indentation. Basically, you're tabbing it out and then doing it. Okay. So if I run, like say for example, the same code, if I put it here, what is going to be the answer? Can someone tell me? What's happening? Python will tell you that you are telling that there is a condition, but you are running the code on the same line where you have written the condition code. So it says that you need to give an indentation and then write it. Okay. So then you just have to tab it so that it says that if this is true, then run it this one. Okay. That's all. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So I'm going to just run a small code. Okay. You're going to tell me what is going to happen. Okay. So let's say x is equal to 21, y is equal to 25, and print x. Okay. And if x is less than say 10, print x and print y. Okay. So what is this going to do? Can someone tell me what is this going to do? Let me remove this and I'll probably put it into a separate one. Okay. So what is this answer for this and what is the answer for this? If those spaces between SAL and 1500 required, not required. I just made it for easy for understanding. Okay. So here in this box of X, 21 is being stored. In this box of Y, 25 is being stored. I'm just printing X, which is nothing but 21. So this is very simple. It's going to give 21. And now here, it will check if X is less than 10. Is 21 less than 10? No. So what will happen here? Why nothing is being printed here? 21 and no answer. Very good. So what is happening here is, just imagine this clause where this has failed. So it had an else loop where it came here to print this, right? Just imagine that you do not have this loop here, right? Then if this is failed, then it will not know what to do and it will just close the loop and finish off the running of the code. Same thing here, because 21 is less than 10, this will not happen. These two will not happen, right? So if you want the next one to happen, you need to put it like inside the else loop. Okay, got it? So this one is failing, so it is going into this. Okay, so this is how indentation is super useful when you run the code. Okay. Okay, so let me try to cover the different types of data structures also that we have. Okay, so there are basic data structures like how you have it in different programming languages, right? So Python also has integer, floating points. Okay, so floating point, string, boolean, date. Okay, so all these are standard ones that are there. Okay, but there are something called, which are Python specific ones also, which is called tuples or tuples, lists, dictionaries. Okay, so these are on their own itself, it's going to take a lot of time for me to just go in depth for each one of them, but we'll try to do as much as possible on the data structures, and then we'll quickly move on to pandas in the third session. Okay, so my intention is to get to pandas at least in the third day. Okay, so what is this data structures? Okay, so now let's say for example I have a counter is equal to 10. Okay, and then say distance is being done in 0.0. Okay, and then name is equal to yeah. Okay, so now these are all basic ones, right? So I'm saving 10 into this, 100.0 into this, and I into this. If I have to find out what is the data structure, put it as count type of this counter. You can see that it is an integer, right? Now let's see if it is, what is the type for distance? It's a float. So you do not have to explicitly mention that when you are creating it. Depending upon what you're storing into the particular box, you can find out what is the type of the box. It's a string. Okay, so type in the bracket, you give the variable name, it will tell you what is the data type. Okay, and very simple, you can do additions and everything over here. So you can do print of 10, say counter plus distance. Okay, so if you want to add 10 to 100, you can do it. And you can see that when you add an integer to a float, your end result is going to be a float. Okay, and another thing is that, like, say for example, let me try to last name is equal to Yashin. Okay, so now can I print like this? Print name plus last name. Okay. Okay, sorry. When I give it a string, I need to give it within the single quotes. So I'm doing that. So you can see that you can concatenate. This plus actually acts as a concatenation operation. Basically, it adds two strings together. So if you're giving two strings, name was actually Ayan and last name was Yashin. So it actually concatenates two of the strings and then giving it. Okay, so this is called, the concept is called the concatenation. Okay, so okay, so let me just give you an example, like say C is equal to 33. I'm giving it within quotes, remember that. So it becomes a string. Okay, what will be the answer for this? What will be the answer for this? Remember, I'm not storing a number here, I'm storing a string here. Okay, so C is going to be a string and 00 is also going to be a string. So C plus D is going to be exactly. So that's how it works. 3300. So it concatenates and gives you the output. Okay, so next one is like say for example, yep, correct, yep, good. Most of you guys have got it. Let me quickly toggle into the Q&A. Oh my god, my system hung the moment I clicked on to. Okay, so guys, use the chat window for answers. Okay, not the Q&A one. Okay, so type is used for finding out the data type of a particular variable. Okay, and one of the questions here was, will we be covering scikit-learn and TensorFlow? TensorFlow is too high level for people here, so I don't think so TensorFlow will be covered, but scikit-learn is something that I'll cover. That will be parked for the 9th and 10th hour, so it will be for the 5th day. Okay, so sounds good. So the recording lecture, I am not exactly sure how is it working. So I don't think I have toggled the recording for sure. So I'm not sure if it is the plan. So I'll check with the team and let you guys know about it. Okay, that's good. Perfect. So now let's move on to find out how do we operate on strings. Okay, so now we know what is a string. So we know that strings are nothing but any names, any alphabetical variables that you store. So like say, for example, I'm storing something inside the string. Okay. So hello students. Okay. So this is going to be stored inside this variable, string variable, str. Okay. So now I'm going to print this str. I'm going to print this. Okay. Now you can use the slice operators in the string to fetch a particular string letter or a character depending upon the position in which they occur in the string. Okay, I'll repeat it. So slice operators are nothing but it gives you an opportunity to find out what is there in that particular string depending upon the position in which it is there. Okay, so let me try to tell you how it works in normal English. Okay, so this is a string that has been stored inside the bucket called str, right? So what is the first character which is here? It is the h, right? And what is the last character which has been stored here? It is s. Okay. Now, if I have to retrieve only h, there should be a way for me to retrieve it. And if I have to retrieve something like s, I need to retrieve it. And if I have to retrieve some 2-3 letters together, I need to retrieve it, right? How do I do that? That is how where slice operators comes in handy. Before we jump to the slice operators, you need to know that the counting of characters in Python starts from 0, not from 1. So this hedge occurs in position 0 in Python. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Space is 5th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So totally there are 13 characters inside the string. How do I find it? Let me see. What is the length of the string? Okay, it's telling 14 because it doesn't count the 0th one, but 0 to 14 it will tell us 14. Okay, but now we know what is the first character, which is nothing but coming in position 0. So if I have to fetch h from the string, I need to put it like this: print the string within square brackets, fetch me the 0th position character. Okay, it will ping me the h. Okay, now similar way, if I have to fetch the first word, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So but 5 will become 4, right? So print str, pick from 0 till 5. What's happening? You may probably not be able to see it clearly. Let me say, I'm going to say for till 7. So we know that 0 is h. And what is the 7th one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is s, right? So when you read this, you're going to say that start from 0 and till 7, fetch it and give it to me. Okay. Now, the converse works differently. If I have to fetch a character from the back side of the string, from the end side of it, you need to start this as -1, -2, -3, -4 like that. So if I have to fetch the last character which is there inside my string, str is a string name, and put -1, it will give you s, which is the last string. Okay, any questions? Okay, sounds good. Now, next one is if I have to start from the second character till the end of the string. Okay, so print str, start from the second character, go till the end. You do not have to specify anything for the end point. Leave it like this, it will go till the end and it will print the full word. So it will start from the second character, which is nothing but the third one, L. So it will start from there and print the end. Okay. Now, there is a funny thing that I see people doing. So if I have to, can I do this? Can I multiply it by 2? It allows you to do it. So like how plus is not an addition, but a concatenation in string, this multiplication symbol is not actually a multiplication. It is actually the number of times it repeats. So it is a repetition in string. Okay. So it will repeat it so many times. Okay. Can you please explain line 30? Okay. So if you have questions, please put it in the question answer tab. Okay. 30 is 30 is 30. Yes. So because I did not put 33 as a number, because I put it within a code, it's actually taking it as a string. So if I run this and if I am adding a 1 and if I say what is the type of C, okay, sorry, what is the type of C? It is a string, it is not a number, isn't it? So if you are adding two strings, it will actually become like a concatenation. Concatenation is just joining two characters, like how you did it here, like Ayan and Yashin here, right? So that's how it takes into consideration. Okay, so if you put it as 33 like this and then try to add it to a string, it will throw an error. You cannot add a number and a string. Okay, that is the whole concept. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how it is done. Sounds good. So now next one, guys. So we already saw how it is done for multiplication. Okay, so now we already saw how to, we did it in print, I think, right? So if I have to add something, this one, so string hello students, and then if I have to print additionally something, you can put it as to the class. Okay, so you can, it will append it. If I want to add any space, add space. Okay, so you can print your string. Okay, now, okay, other question was how do I print it reversely? Okay, so you can do that as well. So print str within brackets, start from say second character from the reverse, go from to the first. Okay, so it will start from there and print it. Okay, so it will print from -2. It will start from -2. Where is it? -2 is nothing but 2 from it to T, and then we'll print the TS. Okay, so it's printing that. Okay, now, okay, I see a question. Okay, good question, Divyang. So the question is, when it means 1 to 7, listen to me carefully. It starts from the first character and ends at till the 7. So it will not include 7. It will include only 6. Okay, so it will include 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you're starting from 1, then it's going to be 1 to 6. Okay. Okay, so a couple of questions that I see on the chat. So how do I interchange strings? Yes, I'll do that next. Okay, I'll certainly do that. Other question was, why are we using str? Oh, okay, str is just a name that I gave here. So see, I just gave str is equal to hello strings. If you're going to change this to any name that you want, Okay, so change it to India, Bangalore, whatever you want. Okay, so it's just a name of the bucket that I'm going to have. So just imagine that you are having a bucket. So let me share my screen and show you in whiteboard. It will be easy for you to understand. So see, basically you are having a bucket and you're giving a name for this bucket called something. Okay, so I'm just giving as str. Okay, probably I can give it as anything that you want. Okay, so str1, str2, whatever I want. And then if I'm going to save a name over here. Okay, so I'm going to save a name called, so I said it as Ion, right? So I'm just saving a name Ion here inside it. Okay, so there is another bucket called str2, and I'm going to save a name there called Yashin. Okay, so now when I add these, if depending upon what I store here, the type of the string of the name of the bucket, the type of the bucket also changes. So this will be a string bucket, and this will also be a string bucket because I'm storing names here instead of numbers. So now if I add str1 plus str2, so what it does is internally Python recognizes that I'm trying to do a concatenation between these two because addition is not possible between two strings. So that is why it gives you Ayan, Yashin together. Okay, so that's the whole concept. Okay, so similarly, if you're going to, instead of